Level 1, the unknown. You are no one, not as an insult, as a fact. You walk a city block and no one's eyes catch on you. You sit in a coffee shop and the room doesn't shift when you walk in. You upload a video and it earns 47 views. Your mother watches it. Your cousin watches it. A bot account out of Indonesia watches it too. You have a job that covers the rent. You have a dream that keeps the lights on in your skull at 2 a.m. On your lunch break, you scroll through people who cracked it open before you did. You study their hooks, their thumbnails, their posting times. You take notes like it's a formula you could solve if you just stared long enough. You are 26. You've been at this for 3 years. 840 followers on Instagram. 200 subscribers on YouTube. A TikTok that never caught. A Twitter you walked away from after the 3rd viral tweet turned the replies into a public flogging. Every night you post. Every morning you check. Every morning the number disappoints you in some small, specific way. Your friends ask what you're building. You tell them. They nod and move the conversation somewhere safer. Your parents ask about your real plans. You don't have an answer that satisfies either of you. A vision is not a paycheck. A vision is the story you tell yourself after the algorithm has ignored you again. Still, you post. Still, you refine something in a room that doesn't know you're in it. This is where it starts for everyone who ever made it. Every famous face once had 11 followers and a phone propped against a water bottle. The only question worth asking is whether you'll have the stubbornness, the self-deception, and the luck to climb out of this floor. Most don't. Most stay here for the rest of their lives, post a few hundred times, decide it wasn't meant for them, and go become someone else's audience. That's the math no one says out loud. 100,000 people want this. A few hundred ever get even the smallest piece of it. You are one of the 100,000. You don't know yet which pile you'll land in. Level 2, the Microcreator. Something shifted. One video found people, 40,000 views, on a feed that used to hand you 400. Your following jumped from 840 to 6,200 in a week. You refresh the app every 30 seconds for 3 days straight. Sleep stopped being something your body wanted to do. Your brain was running on a chemical it didn't know how to metabolize. You're a microcreator now. Under 10,000 followers, over 1,000. A strange shelf of the internet where certain brands start noticing you and certain strangers start noticing you too. Someone at a coffee shop looks a half second too long. You feel it. You pretend you don't. Emails start coming, not many. A tea company offers free tea for a post. A fitness app wants a video about their trial. A drop shipping outfit offers $50. You take most of it. $50 is $50, and you're still clocking into the day job that pays the rent the tea doesn't. You learn what a deliverable is. You learn that the brand goes quiet the second you push back on a term. You learn that most offers are designed to use you, and some are designed to rob you. Your job is fraying. You answer messages in meetings. You edit in your car before you drive home. Your manager clocks it. Your coworkers clock it. You don't care anymore. You're chasing a feeling you already had once, the one from that video, and you want it back. You tell yourself one more hit like that and you'll quit for good. Just one. You replay that clip at night, trying to find the lever that worked, the hook, the thumbnail, the hour you posted it. You never isolate it. The algorithm doesn't explain itself, and you keep knocking anyway. Level 3, the full-timer. You did it. You quit. You'd saved 6 months of expenses. You sat your parents down and told them this was the plan now. Your mother cried. Your father asked about health insurance. You didn't have a good answer, but you told him you'd figure it out, because you had to try. No boss now. Also no coworkers, no HR, no paid leave, no 401k, no net underneath you. You're the entire company, and you're also the product the company sells. Your schedule is a plan that keeps falling apart on contact with reality. You try to batch your filming. A trend lands on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday it's dead, so you drop everything and chase it. That's the actual job now. Chasing what's happening before it stops happening. You pass 50,000 followers. You pass 100,000. Low 6 figures. It means something. Just less than you'd pictured. The money beats your old paycheck, but not by the margin people assume. You grossed $90,000 last year. $30,000 went to taxes because nobody told you about quarterly estimates until it was too late. $8,000 went to an editor you couldn't do without. The rest went to gear, software, travel, the Wi-Fi bill at every coffee shop that became your office. Nobody warns you about the loneliness. You spend your days talking into a lens. You spend your nights cutting footage of your own face until you stop recognizing it as a face and start seeing it as a thumbnail, a product, a variable to optimize. The friends from before drift. They joke about your job at parties. You laugh along. You find new ones, other creators who speak the same dialect, people you meet at conferences and keep in a Discord where everyone trades tax write-offs and agency horror stories. You start a group chat with 4 people at your level. You text them about burnout after midnight. They text back fast because none of you are asleep, and none of you say that part out loud to the people who watch you. Level 4, the rising star. You crossed 1 million followers. You remember the day. You remember the shirt you were wearing. You remember the screenshot, saved in a folder you'll open for the rest of your life. 1 million people decided, in some small, conscious way, that your face was worth a slot in their feed. You try to hold that number in your head. It doesn't fit. The money changes shape. Brand deals start landing at $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a post. You have an agent, a manager, a lawyer, an accountant who specializes in people like you. 40% of your gross goes to the team that keeps you from drowning. You get invited to rooms you didn't know existed. Launch parties, red carpets for events you'd never heard of, industry mixers where everyone is very carefully not staring at everyone else. You're at the edge of something bigger. Not inside it yet. You can see the door, though. Dating changes, too. Matches recognize you before you've said a word, and they act differently because of it. Some are genuinely excited. Some are auditioning for a role, not a relationship. You start noticing who's filming the date without asking. You get careful. The carefulness isolates you a little more each time, but it also keeps you upright. Your family doesn't quite know how to stand next to this. You bought your mother a car. You cleared your parents' credit card debt. They're proud of you and uneasy about it in equal measure. Old friends feel smaller around you now, not because you changed, but because the math of every friendship shifted, and nobody wants to say so. You pick up the check at dinner. Then you pick it up every time, because the one time you don't, the room goes quiet in a way nobody will name. So you always pay. It costs more than the bill. It costs you the idea that you and your friends are still standing on the same ground. Level 5. The name. Real fame now. Not internet fame. The kind where airports know your face, grocery stores know your face, countries where you don't speak the language know your face. Strangers ask for 15 seconds of your time for a photo constantly, and you learn the polite no and the efficient yes because both are just transactions in a new kind of economy. Maybe it was a film role, a book deal, a song that crossed over, a product line that took off. The specifics don't matter much anymore. What matters is you stopped being a creator and became a name. And a name opens doors in rooms you've never stood in and closes others before you've said a single word. You hired security this year. Nothing dramatic happened. A few messages felt different from the usual noise, and your team pushed until you let them win the argument. Now a man in a dark polo stands near you at every public thing you do. You don't know anything about his family. You know what he's there to absorb on your behalf. The weight of that fact never quite finishes landing. Money becomes a different kind of problem. Not too little. Too much with no clear place to put it. You read about athletes who lost it all. You read about musicians who did the same. You hire a wealth manager. You diversify. You buy property. You invest in startups. 3 friends swore by, and you lose money on most of them. And you learn expensively who deserves your trust. The parasocial part gets heavier here. People feel like they know you because they've watched you for years, cried during your bad stretches, laughed during your good ones. They love a version of you that you built carefully, on purpose, And when the real version slips through, the backlash is fast and specific in a way that's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't lived it. Last month you had a bad week. Something you said on a podcast got clipped out of its context. 30 million people saw the clip. Fewer than 1 million watched the full episode. That ratio tells you most of what you need to know about how any of this actually works. Your publicist managed it. You apologized for something you didn't entirely mean. You moved on before your audience did. Level 6. The brand. You're a brand now, and not as a figure of speech. There are trademarks. An LLC, then several, stacked for reasons your accountant has explained 3 times and you've stopped pretending to follow. A logo, a merch line. 14 people whose mortgages depend on you staying relevant. Your face is on packaging. Your name is on a billboard. Your voice is in a commercial. You had to read 7 different ways before the director got the cadence he wanted. You're a one-person media company, and that means meetings now, real ones, with adults in suits, discussing quarterly numbers, and whether your audience is migrating to some new platform. You nod. You weigh in when asked. At some point you notice you've become the CEO of a company you never meant to found. You sign off on contracts. You approve rough cuts other people built from your notes. The thing that made people care about you in the first place gets harder to produce because you have less and less time to actually make it yourself. Your audience feels the shift before you admit it. Some call it selling out. Some call it losing the thread. They're not entirely wrong. You're running a company and maintaining a personal bond with millions of strangers at once, and one of those 2 things keeps losing. You see a therapist twice a week now. Her client list would surprise you. She specializes in people like you. $500 an hour worth every cent because she's the one person in your life who is legally required to keep what you say to herself. Sit with that for a second. The only fully trustworthy relationship you have is one you pay for. Your assistant has been with you 4 years. She knows your passwords. She knows your prescriptions. She knows exactly who you cut out of your life and why. Her non-disclosure agreement runs 48 pages, and your lawyer updates it every year. That's what closeness looks like now. Paperwork as a condition of being let in. Level 7, the celebrity. You're A-list or close enough, or convincingly playing the part at the right parties. The rankings are unspoken, but everyone in the room knows them anyway. Photographers catch you leaving a restaurant, carrying groceries, in workout clothes on a beach you thought was private. The pictures end up everywhere, and strangers dissect your body, your outfit, your expression, the company you kept. A headline gets built from 12 seconds of footage shot from 80 yards away. You stop reading headlines. You stop reading comments. Eventually you stop reading anything about yourself because not knowing is the only version of this that's survivable. You have a publicist who earns more in a year than most people will ever see. She decides which information reaches anyone, which interviews happen, which invitations get accepted. She has a plan for crises you didn't know were possible. She knows editors at every outlet that matters, and she can kill a story or plant one, often in the same week, and you've learned not to ask which. Dating is nearly impossible. Every dinner is a possible headline. Every date is a possible leak. You end up dating other famous people because the arithmetic works. They have as much to lose as you, and they understand the terms, even if the chemistry now has to survive a public merger of 2 brands. Strangers pick sides before you've even posted the photo. Your family is fractured in places. Siblings ask for money. Cousins ask for money. Relatives you haven't seen since childhood resurface with business plans and medical bills. There's a process now. Every request routes through one email address. Your assistant reviews it. Most get a polite no. The ones who get angry about the no were never really there for you in the first place. You still send the birthday cards. You still remember the names. But you stopped confusing kindness with access a long time ago, because they were never the same thing, and unstructured generosity will eat you alive if you let it. Level 8, the institution. 15 years in now, you're not the new thing anymore. You're something sturdier. Your name shows up in textbooks about your own industry. Younger people cite you as the reason they started. Phrases you coined have entered the language without anyone remembering where they came from. You've won the kind of award you used to watch other people win on a television in your childhood living room. You sit on boards. You hold honorary degrees from 3 universities. You give commencement speeches. Your foundation gives away 7 figures a year to causes you actually believe in. You are, by any measure, the establishment now, and some of the people who liked you when you were scrappy and dangerous and breaking things resent exactly that. You still make the work, but the stakes are different. Every new thing gets measured against the old thing, against a version of yourself the public froze in place years ago. That frozen version is the hardest competitor you'll ever face. The money is generational now, not just yours. Your kids won't need to work. Your grandchildren won't either, unless they choose to. That changes how you raise them. You try to build work ethic into people who will never feel real consequences. It doesn't always take. You've watched other people's children become tabloid fixtures, and you study their mistakes like a syllabus without ever being sure, you're doing better. Your health has its own team now. Doctors, supplements that cost more than some households spend on food. A trainer, a nutritionist, a sleep coach, a breath specialist. You're engineering your own longevity with resources most people can't picture. Some days that feels like guilt. Some days it feels like gratitude. Most days it just feels like fatigue. You think about disappearing into a house in the country to write a memoir nobody will read for decades. Your contracts disagree. Your team disagrees. You're a machine that's hard to switch off without taking 20 other careers down with you, so you keep going at a pace you've learned to manage, having accepted that retirement is a word for other professions. Level 9. The icon. The word fits now, and it stopped embarrassing you a while ago. You're bigger than the work itself. A symbol of a moment, an era, a shift the culture agreed happened. People who've never consumed a single thing you made still know your face. You're shorthand for an idea now, visible to people who've never once heard your voice. Museums have shown your work. Documentaries have been made about you. 2 unauthorized biographies exist already. You tried reading them. You couldn't finish either. Watching your own life narrated by people who weren't there is its own specific kind of vertigo. Some details are wrong. Some are right in ways you wish they weren't. The parasocial weight is its heaviest here. Strangers feel they own a piece of you, entitled to your time, your opinions, your reaction to whatever's happening in the news that week. Stay quiet and you're complicit. Say something and you're opportunistic. There's no neutral square left on the board. Every move reads as a statement. You've become a kind of optical illusion, more visible than ever and more hidden than ever, both at once. Billboards, magazine covers, feeds, broadcasts, all carrying your image everywhere. Underneath all of it, the actual person is harder to locate than he's ever been. You live behind gates. You move in private cars. You enter through the back. It's been 20 years since you walked into a public place as an ordinary person, and you can't remember anymore what that felt like. You try to describe anonymity to your kids and realize you're describing a country they've never set foot in. You worry about what that absence does to them. At 3 a.m, you worry about a lot of things. About your legacy getting flattened into one story. About the version of you that outlives you. About whether the private you ever really existed at all, or whether fame quietly ate it over 30 years without you noticing it was happening. Level 10. The myth. You outlasted your own era. The trends, the scandals, the comebacks after the comebacks. You're old now. The culture has moved past you a few times and circled back at least twice. You've turned into mythology. Children study you in school. Your voice trains machine learning models. Your estate licenses your image for projects you'll never see finished. You're a ghost inside your own legend, still breathing. You live in a house you bought 40 years ago. The house is quiet. Most of the people who built your fame with you are gone. Your manager died 5 years ago. Your first agent went before that. Your oldest friends are in assisted living or in cemeteries you don't visit as often as you mean to. The circle keeps narrowing. That's the real cost of lasting this long. You outlive the witnesses. You still wake early. The sun doesn't care how famous you are. You make coffee. You read an actual newspaper now, because screens have started to hurt your eyes. You read about people younger than you doing the things you used to do, and something in your chest tightens for a second before it lets go. Fame outlasts the person who carried it. That was the deal, the one you signed without reading the fine print. Your name will sit in archives long after you're gone. Your face will get reposted by people who never knew you. Your words will be quoted, misquoted, lifted out of context, turned into merchandise, turned into prompts for tools that didn't exist when you started. Somewhere, someone is writing a dissertation about your influence. Somewhere, someone is forging your signature on a photo to sell online. Somewhere, a kid is watching your oldest clips, trying to reverse engineer the formula. There was no formula. There was luck, there was timing, there was an obsession sharp enough to run for decades, fed by enough pain to keep it burning. That's all it ever was. Your kids visit on weekends, your grandchildren tolerate the visits, loving you while being quietly embarrassed by you, the way only the grandchildren of famous people seem to be. You try not to take it personally. Days blur now, names slip. You remember 1987 in perfect detail and can't recall what you ate this morning. Your doctor calls it normal. You're no longer sure what that word means. You think about the beginning, the version of you with 840 followers, the one who checked the app every 30 seconds, the one with a vision and no plan at all. You'd like to tell him something. You're not sure what. The truth wouldn't have stopped him. It wouldn't have helped him either. The vision was never optional. It was the engine. Without it, none of this happens. It also cost him things he didn't know he had yet to lose. Quiet mornings, small, uncomplicated friendships, the right to walk into a room without being measured by it. You close your eyes. Somewhere in an apartment in a city you've never visited, a 19-year-old is filming themselves on a phone with a cracked screen. Nervous, hopeful. 47 followers and a dream, and no real sense of what they're agreeing to. They won't become you. Almost no one does. They'll try anyway, for years, feeding themselves into an algorithm that has no opinion on whether they survive it. And one of them, out of the millions who try, will end up somewhere close to where you are now. And they'll learn, the way you learned, that the thing they were chasing was never the thing they thought it was. Then it starts over, somewhere else, with someone else's 47 views.